Hello again and welcome to the lecture in the course Programming in Java. We will conclude the concept of objects and classes in this lecture by examining the relationship between superclass and subclasses. In our last class, we likened superclass and subclasses to inheritance relationships from tree-like hierarchical structures and concluded that superclass exists in a hierarchical relationship with its subclasses. To describe the relationship between a superclass and its subclasses, let us consider an inheritance hierarchy containing types of employees in a company's payroll application. In this company, commission employees who will be represented as objects of a superclass are paid a percentage of their sales, while base salaried commission employees who will be represented as objects of a subclass receive a base salary plus a percentage of their sales. We will divide the relationship between these classes into 5 examples. The first declares class commission employee, which directly inherits from class objects and declares as private instance variables a first name, last name, social security number, commission rate and gross, that is, total sales amount. The second example declares class-based commission employee, which also directly inherits from class objects and declares as private instance variables a first name, last name, social security number, commission rate, gross sales amount, and base salary. The third example declares a new base plus commission employee class that extends class commission employee. That is, a base plus commission employee is a commission employee who also has a base salary. The fourth example shows that if the commission employee's instance variables are declared as protected, the base plus commission employee subclass can access that data directly. The fifth example sets the commission employee instance variables back to private to enforce good software engineering. Do refer to your course materials for the code and detailed explanation on the illustration I just cited. The class commission employees public services include a constructor. Instantiating a subclass object begins a chain of constructor calls in which the subclass constructor, before performing its own tasks, invokes its direct superclass constructor either explicitly via the super reference or implicitly calling the superclass default constructor or no argument constructor. Similarly, if the superclass is derived from another class, the superclass constructor invokes the constructor of the next class up the hierarchy, and so on. The last constructor called in the chain is always the constructor for class object. I am sure by now you understand the concept of superclass and subclasses. Attempt to provide answers to the exercise in your course materials. In summary, the time class case study in our earlier lectures presented a complete class declaration consisting of private data, overloaded public constructors for initialization, flexibility, set and get methods for manipulating the class data, and methods that returned a string of representations of the time object in 2 different formats. You have learned the notions of superclasses and subclasses and used keyword extents to create a subclass that inherits members from a superclass. The concept of polymorphism will be discussed in the next lecture. Until then, goodbye.